All right, well, hello everyone. It looks like we have some attendees coming through right now. We are just going to wait maybe one more minute to get started just to allow everyone to log on, get all of their webinars working. So we're just going to wait one more minute and then we will get started. All right, so it is 2:32. I think we are going to go ahead and kick this off. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Meet the MRF webinar. We are so happy to have you all here today. Today we're going to explore the history and the day-to-day operations of the Materials Recovery Facility, also known as a MRF. And we're also going to go through all the steps of the process as a virtual tour of the facility. Just a few housekeeping things to get out of the way in the beginning. This webinar is being recorded, so if that is against any of your policies, go ahead and log off. We will be recording this webinar and posting it onto our website so that people can jump on and watch it later. We have also disabled the chat feature for this webinar. Feel free to use the Q&A feature, which is located on the bottom of your screen. We will be checking the questions throughout the webinar, but we will not be answering questions until the end. We do have a couple minutes built in for questions at the end, so feel free to use the Q&A and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. All right, so my name is Zoe Jump. I am the Education Coordinator at Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful. I will be facilitating this presentation and keeping an eye on the Q&A. We also have Emma Zarnecki here with us today. She is our lead environmental educator, and she will be the one presenting the webinar to you guys today. So you will hear from her in just a moment. A little bit about Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful. We are a nonprofit organization, and our mission statement is to promote sustainability through clean, healthy, and beautiful communities for generations to come. We educate all ages on different topics regarding sustainability, such as recycling, composting, alternative energy, water, and more. If you're more interested in learning more about our programs, you can go ahead and visit our website and click on the Book a Class tab. That'll show you all of the programs that we offer. In addition, we do hold public MRF tours. Those are held on the first Tuesday at noon and the third Thursday at 4:30 of the month. We currently are not running those tours due to the current situation with COVID-19, but once we get the all clear, we will be resuming those tours. So keep an eye out for more information on that. And I will go ahead and turn it over to Emma.
Hi everyone, this is Emma. So I'm going to start off with the history of the MRF. So the building was first used in 1977 by Americology, which was a company that converted garbage into fuel. So they actually sold this to electric companies in the area. It ran for a little over 2 years, up until 1979. The plant actually had a pretty major explosion, so they had to shut down the facility, and the operations just weren't as successful as they thought they were going to be. And then the MRF opened, so that is the Materials Recovery Facility. That was built in 1991. So they actually built this facility because there was a lot of bans on items that were banned to put in landfills. So recycling facilities were built, and this one specifically was built, and this covered just the city of Milwaukee at the time. So this ran from 1991 to 2013, and it was a dual stream system. We'll go into those different systems in a little bit. And the facility only took residential recycling. So just curbside recycling, no restaurants, no schools, anything like that. And then the city of Milwaukee they ran an efficiency test, and they kind of rethought about the system and decided to change to a single stream system, which actually, when they announced this to the community, recycling went up by 18%. So consumers were really excited that the process was going to be more streamlined and easier for them to do. So the facility shut down. They reopened in 2015, and now it's a single stream system. And they actually are now partnering with the whole county of Waukesha. So dual stream versus single stream. The dual stream is that old system that I was talking about. So that one was the one that ran from 1991 to 2013. It just wasn't as efficient. It was very time consuming. Consumers had to actually separate out their recycling curbside. So if anyone remembers, there were these dividers in the bins. And there was paper and cardboard on one side, and then glass, metal, and plastic on the other side. So those dividers just really helped employees to have the items pre-sorted when it got to the facility. And then the employees would further take out items that weren't supposed to be there. So it was just completely hand sorting. And then they switched over to the single stream system. And this is what we call like a modern day recycling facility. So any recycling facility in a big city, this is what they're going to have. And consumers now have to throw everything loose inside the bin. So I want to emphasize loose. We don't want anything in a bagged container, box, like a garbage bag of any sort. We just want everything mixed together, loose in the bin. It just helps to streamline the process, make it go a lot faster. Employees can then easily pick out stuff that shouldn't be there. And then the equipment kind of makes the process go faster as well. And employees are really, really essential in this process because the machines can't really always detect the stuff that shouldn't be in there. So retrofitting the MRF. It took about 2 years for them to design, ship, and build the MRF to the conditions it is today. So that cost about $32 million to retrofit the building. They did take out a loan for this to cover all the expenses. And so the city of Milwaukee owns the building. The city and the county of Waukesha co-own the equipment. And then Republic Services is the one that does all the marketing, management, and they pay the employees. So the lifetime of the machines is about 25 to 30 years, so we're looking pretty good right now. So day-to-day operations. It takes around 40 employees to operate the MRF. Employees are trained, and they usually remain in the same positions the whole time they're working. That's just because they can get really good and really fast at what they're doing, because each position is a little bit different and requires a little bit different training. So employees actually stand along the lines, the sorting material, and they're taking out anything that shouldn't be there. And then there's employees that operate equipment in the control rooms, and then there's a whole crew that operates forklifts and does maintenance on the machines. So 250 tons of material is processed in one single shift, and that's a 10-hour day for them. So it's a lot of stuff that comes in there. So this is a map of the facility. So it's a pretty big facility. There's a back entrance for trucks to come in and out, and load and unload their material, but the whole facility is 75,000 square feet. So it's a pretty big place. And so those numbers are going to be the steps that we're going to be talking about today. So I will kind of go into that right now. So first, this isn't necessarily a step, but we got to start with those recycling trucks. So there's 30 trucks that go out every single day and pick up recycling. And it is so important to only throw recyclables in your recycling cart. That kind of makes sense, but we see a lot of crazy stuff in there all the time. It just really speeds up the process. You know, the machines can only take out and sort so much, the employees can only take out and sort so much, but if you do your part on your end, it really helps the employees, and we can process more material in a day. And before the trucks come in and dump their material, they're actually weighed, and that's where they get that 250 tons material number. So the tipping floor, this is the first step in the process. So materials come in by trucks and they're dumped off on this tipping floor, and then a front-end loader scoops it all up and drops it in this blue metering bin. And the metering bin ensures a steady flow of material. And so then the material spins all around and it is laid out on a single flat layer to go up a conveyor belt and move on to the next step. So the pre-sort room is that next step, and the conveyor belt moves along up, and there's employees on either side picking out anything that shouldn't be there. So we call this the first line of defense. This is because it's the first time that employers are seeing all this material. And these employees are trained to take out anything big, bulky, or dangerous. So they see a lot of crazy stuff in here. They see lawn furniture and Christmas trees and clothes and propane tanks, which are really scary and dangerous and shouldn't be in here, and even plastic grocery bags. So those are some examples of things that shouldn't be in the facility at all. And this is actually the fastest moving line out of all the lines in the facility. And so next we have the OCC separator and debris roll screens. So OCC stands for old corrugated cardboard. And so the material falls through the openings, and the cardboard actually keeps up and floats on top and keeps going, and it goes to its own storage bunker. And so that's how the cardboard is separated out from all the rest of the material. And then the glass actually it falls down and it's broken, and it's separated through air technology to separate the glass from other like really fine particles. So the glass falls down and the fine material actually blows over, and the glass just goes into its own storage bunker from there. So we got the mixed paper lines. So newspaper, otherly known as ONP, is first separated out from the remaining materials. So what happens? These tri-shaped rubber discs in the machine kind of act like a wave, and it helps the newspaper to separate out from the mixed paper and containers. So the 3D containers just kind of roll along the top and rotate around on top of those discs. The 2D mixed paper floats up and lands onto a conveyor belt, which then the employees see and are standing on these paper lines. And then the fine material just falls through the cracks. So from there, those three are just separated into different categories. All right, so then we have the electromagnetic belt. So this is essentially a really big spinning magnet. So this separates all the tin and the steel from the plastic containers. So aluminum is not magnetic, so it just keeps on moving along. And so the only things that we should have left are plastic containers and aluminum. So the next step is the eddy current, and this is a reverse magnet. And this is definitely my favorite step. It is really, really cool to see in person. So if you get a chance to go on our Free the Public tours when we reopen, please take advantage of it. It is really fun to see in person. And so a plastic actually comes through on this conveyor belt. And as you can see in this video, the aluminum just flies all the way to the back in this green box. And that is because it is trying to get away from that magnet. It does not want to be there at all. And there's a barrier in between there where the plastic drops down and the aluminum goes all the way to the back, and now we just have plastic. So a plastic optical sorter machine is one of the last steps. So there are 3 different plastic optical sorter machines to detect 3 different plastic numbers that are accepted at the MRF. And so as many of you know, plastic containers have recycled symbols on the bottom of the container. They're really small to see normally, but the examples are right on this slide here. Number 1s, 2s, and 5. So that's the ones that you're going to look for the city of Milwaukee and the county of Waukesha. So that is why it's super important to know what to throw. We want to check those numbers before we toss anything in our recycling bin. And the numbers actually range from 1 till 7. So the only ones you're going to want to look for is 1s, 2s, and 5s. And so the plastic materials move along this conveyor belt, and they're scanned by infrared lasers. And they're scanning the plastic for composition. So they want to know the makeup of that material. And then a puff of air directs the correct plastic past the barrier into its own storage area. And the incorrect plastics just drop down and keep on moving throughout the line. And then the quality control line. So this is the slowest moving line. Employees are removing anything that they didn't see the first time. So maybe they see a rusty can, maybe they see a full peanut butter jar that wasn't scraped out. They see a lot of stuff with food residue that's just going to mess up the recycling process. So they're taking out that kind of stuff in there. And then we got those storage bunkers. So the sorted material go in their own individual storage bunkers, and they're wait to be baled. So bunkers move on these really cool walking floors. So the walking floors just help move the heavy material to be dumped into the baler. So next we have the baler. There are 2 balers. The first one is for fibers, and that is for cardboard and paper. And so one paper bale is pretty heavy, but there are actually 100 paper bales that are made every single day. So there's a lot of paper in this facility. This facility is actually made up of 56% paper. So Wisconsin is a big paper state, and that's why. And then the second baler is all containers. So that's going to be metal and plastic. And the sorted material is taken up on another conveyor belt, and it's dropped into this bin. And then the material is pushed over, and then they crush it down with really super heavy metal plates, and then the machine actually wraps it with a bunch of wire. And from there, employees use forklifts to transport and stack the bales, and then it is ready to be shipped off and melted down into new material. And so we have a question on this video. How many cans are in one metal bale? So if you have an answer to that question, put it in the Q&A section, and we will give you the answer in a little bit. And so we have some video resources. So if you really liked these clips that we showed, these are just actually taken from this really awesome video, and it's from the actual Milwaukee recycling facility that you can tour in person. So this is just on YouTube. The link is right here. And so if you want, you can look that up later, and it gives you the full tour of the whole facility. And then the ones underneath there are really good for students. So I know that there's some green team students on this webinar today, and these are really great for any age level. So we got 3rd through 5th, 6th through 8th, and 9th through 12th. And these give a full tour and kind of go a little bit more in depth as well. So these are great resources for any students that are watching today. And then I wanted to give out a shout out to our Webinar Wednesday series. So this is kind of a kickoff to our Webinar Wednesday series, which is starting up on Earth Day actually. So it's the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month. And the one on Earth Day is at 11 a.m. and it's our basic backyard composting class. So if you're interested, you can sign up on our website, and we'll have more information on Facebook. And then we have one on May 13th at 2 p.m. and that's a recycling do's and don'ts. So this is actually going to go way more in depth on things you can and cannot recycle, going into those plastic numbers, that kind of stuff. And then we have on May 27th at 11 a.m. a small space composting. So if you live in a dorm, if you live in an apartment, if you live in a condo, anything like that, and you're just intimidated by composting because you don't know where to put the stuff, this is going to be a really perfect class for you to attend. So again, information is going to be on our Facebook page at Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful. And then this is a partnership with the city of Milwaukee. So you can actually go on Recycle for Good Milwaukee, and they should have that on their Facebook page as well.
All right, so we're getting some questions coming through. I've been seeing some really good guesses for how many cans are in one of those bales. Someone said 24,000, which I think they're a little bit close. 5,000. Someone said 650,000 cans. That is quite the number. Wouldn't that be a big bale of cans? But they're actually up to 32,000 cans in one of those bales. So I don't think anyone guessed it right on the head, but you guys did pretty well. I'm just going to go through the rest of the Q&A questions right now, since we do have a couple minutes left for our webinar today. One question that I was seeing a lot was, why are plastic shopping bags not recyclable? So any sort of plastic film, whether it be a plastic shopping bag, a bread bag, the casing around a water bottle pack, dry cleaning bags, all of that plastic film gets tangled up in those rubber discs you guys saw on those paper lines. We actually have to shut down all of the machines every single day and take out all of that plastic film. It just gets very jammed up in the machines. So you definitely don't want to put any plastic film in your recycling bin. Instead, you can go ahead and take it to a grocery store, Sendik's, Meijer, even the Keep Greater Milwaukee Beautiful office accepts plastic film. So don't put it in your recycling bin at home. Another question we got was, where do the materials go that the MRF does not recycle? So all of the materials are first separated out in that pre-sort room. So that is when you saw that very fast moving conveyor belt. And those materials are sent through the facility into a large residue tank. If you look at the slide we have up right now, there is a big green residue tank right outside of the facility, and that is where all of the non-recyclable material goes. Those tanks get picked up and they are taken to the landfill. Let's see, where is this facility located? Great question. This facility is located in the Menominee Valley. It's right near Potawatomi. It's on Mount Vernon Avenue. What else? Do I put lids on plastic bottles? Yes, you should keep like material with like material. So if you have a plastic water bottle and the lid is plastic, go ahead and put the lid back on the bottle. But if you have a glass salsa jar and the lid is metal, you don't want to be putting that back on the container. Another question was about rinsing out containers. So this is a really good question. The containers do need to be clean. So we don't want like a half full peanut butter jar in there. That actually will not get separated by those plastic sorters. So make sure that you're really cleaning out your containers. They don't need to be put in the dishwasher or rinsed out with soap, just as long as there isn't any food residue in there. And that also helps with the smell in the facility. It helps with the state of the facility and just keeps things really nice for the workers. Someone said they want to go count the cans. Let's see here. We got a question about labels on plastic containers. The labels can stay on the plastic containers. That's a very small amount of material, and the plastic bales are about 98% accurate, and that 2% is kind of those little random labels and things like that. We also got a question in regarding plastic numbers, which I realize is a little bit confusing. There might be some outdated brochures that City of Milwaukee residents still have that state 1s, 2s, 4s, and 5s are recyclable, but it is now just 1s, 2s, and 5s. So there's no longer a market for those number 4 plastics anymore. So it is just 1s, 2s, and 5s right now. What else? These are all really great questions. Should I bag my recyclables or dump them loose in the cart? Always, always loose in the bin. You don't need to bag your recyclables in any sort of bag or any sort of box. Just throw them all loose in the cart. That makes everything easier for everyone. And if you do need to bag your recyclables for any reason, please bag them in a clear plastic bag. If your recyclables are bagged in a bag that is opaque or black, the bag will not be opened up on the pre-sort line because it could be garbage, it could be yard waste. So if you do feel the need to bag your recyclables, make sure the bag is clear. Let's see here. Oh wow, there's so many questions. So if we don't get to all these questions today, we will we can go ahead and post the answers on our website. So if we don't get them to all today, we will post the answers on our website.
So something I want to mention, Zoe, I noticed there was some confusion. It is just the city of Milwaukee, not the whole county. It's just the city. So if you live in Wauwatosa, you're not going to be in these guidelines at all. Your recycling goes to a separate facility. So that might be Germantown. I'm not sure exactly the Wauwatosa recycling guidelines, but this facility that we're discussing today is just the city of Milwaukee and then the entire county of Waukesha.
Thank you, Emma. Yeah, if you see any questions coming up that I'm maybe scrolling past, go ahead and shout it out. We got a question asking what happens to our recyclables. Do they stay in the US or do they go somewhere else? And we are going to dive into that in our recycling do's and don'ts webinar that's coming up in May. We are going to talk about where our plastics go, where our glass goes, our paper, and our metal. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned for that webinar in May as we will go into full detail on all of those different final products for the recyclables.
And then another question is about bagging recycling. So yeah, never bag recycling at all, just only bag shredded paper. And this should be in like a brown grocery bag. And what you want to do is just like crumple it up so the shredded paper doesn't fall loose and keep it in that. But other than that, nothing should ever be in a bag at all, just completely loose inside that cart.
And then one more question. Someone said, is it okay to crush the plastic water bottles? Please don't crush your plastic water bottles. We ask that they stay the way they are. That just makes the sorting of the plastic much easier. Is there anything else you see, Emma? I know we only have 1 minute left here, but like I said, we will go ahead and go through these questions and we can go ahead and post the answers on our website.
Yeah, and we're going to have 2 more webinars specifically talking about do's and don'ts of recycling. So if this is really interesting to you or your question didn't get answered, please tune in to one of those other webinars that we're going to be having. We'll definitely dive deeper into those recycling questions. This was more of a history and steps at the MRF rather than discussing kind of specifics into recycling.
All right, well, that is going to go ahead and conclude our webinar for the day. We are out of time. But again, thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciated you guys all being here. Please stay tuned for more webinars in the future, as we are really excited to be offering this new tool for virtual learning. And also, please do check out our website. We offer many environmental education classes that are for every age group, adults, college students. So again, once we get that all clear and we are back in our offices, we are very excited to start offering those classes again. So everyone, have a great day, and thank you so much.
Thank you.